Thomas, one of the disciples. He is often labeled Doubting Thomas. But do you know that Doubting Thomas was an honorable man, and what he did and what he said, Jesus did not rebuke him? The way that I have heard this story told and presented is as if Jesus rebuked Thomas for requiring to see with his own eyes the evidence of Jesus's resurrection from the dead, right? That is how it has always been presented to me, that Thomas was being rebuked by Jesus because he wanted to see evidence. Okay, but let's go through the text. It says there, now Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. That means after on the day that Jesus raised out of the tomb, and sometime during that day later on, he appeared to the disciples. Thomas was not with them, and he showed them his hands and so on. Anyway, let's follow the narrative. Verse 25. So the other disciples told him, we have seen the Lord. But he said to them, unless I see. Because why? Thomas is a witness. Thomas is actually acting on our behalf 20 centuries later. When Thomas says to us, yeah, this is the man, because I saw it, I saw the wounds, I touched them myself, and I verified, yes, this is the same Jesus, because he had the wounds and the nail prints and so on in his hands still, right? He is acting on our behalf. We were not there. So he is acting as our eyes. He's acting as our hands, right? He's acting as our ears. He's acting on our behalf. He's our witness to these things, right? So he says, unless I see in his hands the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe. And we are like, oh, Thomas, you're doubting Thomas. Why don't you believe? Don't you know that a righteous man lives by faith? The just shall live by faith. Why do you demand evidence, Thomas? So 8 days later, his disciples, that is Christ's disciples, were inside again, and Thomas was with them this time, right? This time Thomas was with them. All of the doors were locked. Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. Then he said to Thomas, put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it at my side or in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe. And Thomas answered him, my Lord and my God. Verse 29, Jesus said to him, have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. Who are those who have not seen and yet have believed? It is like us, who were not there. We did not see it. But why do we believe? We believe because of the eyewitness testimony of the apostles. We believe because of the eyewitness testimony of the apostle John. We believe because of the eyewitness testimony of Matthew, Mark, Luke, James, Peter. We believe because they were there, plus a whole host of other witnesses which are recorded in the Gospels, who actually were there and who saw. And because this thing did not happen in secret, there were many witnesses to verify that these things happened. That is why we believe, yet we never saw. And so Jesus is saying, blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe, because we believe because of the testimony of the witnesses.